A shocking twist of events. It would appear that we have some shocking results for you today. Make sure you guys smash the like, grab that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more awesome content. Your next play tournament breakdown for today is actually insane. It's a little bit smaller of a tournament out here, but to see the differences in these results and seeing the shift around that the OCG meta is kind of going through right now is actually quite impressive, because Rizeol and Malice have been fighting neck and neck out here to have this huge placement in the meta. And today, actually, only having 3 Rizeol duelists entering into the room is definitely interesting to me. Last week, we had a much higher representation, but, the OCG is not exactly having a great time out here with this meta. Now, 3 Rizeol. You also had 2 Snake Eyes participants, 2 Magical Musketeers. Now that's actually very refreshing to see. Probably using some of that Snake Eyes good stuff, or excuse me, the Fiendsmith package. We also had 2 U-Belt Duelists, 2 Shark Duelists, and we also had 2 Labyrinth Duelists out here, kind of stepping into the arena and seeing what they can do. Now, with that being said, Unchained Vanquish Soul. You also had the standard approach for Rescue Ace. It would also appear we had some plant good stuff. We also had the full Phantom Knights. Okay. It would also appear we only had 1 Tempai player today. That's kind of shocking, but okay. Inspector Border, Stun Leaps into Action, Fallen of Albaz, and of course, our only 1 Malice player. Now, looking at this tournament data, though, I'm not surprised to see these numbers and the way that things are, but it's just interesting out here seeing the tournament structure and the way that things are kind of deviating right now for players. Having that difference of things is pretty good. Now we push on in to your dear old top 8 out here. And I gotta tell you, top 8 might not be the most fantastic thing in the world, but let's call it what it is. Seeing pretty much all your Rizeol players making that top cut is the scary thing to see. This deck's domination in the meta is crazy to see. I don't know why people are necessarily shocked to see this, but this is what we're dealing with right now. Dreadnader being able to do this double-sided pop, be able to control the opponent. Every time your opponent activates a card effect, just smash it. And it forces your opponent to go into this really bad position out here. And there's not really much of a recovery that you can really do. It's pretty insane to me, the amount of consistency that this deck has going for it. I've watched this play out. The fact Dreadnader has the protection clause is what really scares me about this deck. Now, that being said, we also did have our very, very cool Shark deck floating around in Top Cut, which I will say, Sharks getting the chance to show up, pretty good. We also had Ubel here as well in your Top Cut, not all that surprising. Now, we did have Magical Musketeer. Now, unfortunately, I do not have this very, very cool list. It's not posted anywhere online. I really wish that we could see what they were bringing to the table and see some of the ideas, but I'm assuming that it's similar to what the TCG's been doing. You're using the Fiendsmith stuff for all of the Rhoda and circulation that you can get, and you're using all of these power cards kind of allow you the chance to set up and then make your board. I can't imagine that there'd be anything too crazy to this setup. You know what I mean? You just a little bit of sauce on the side and you you're set up and you're good to go. But outside of that, Labyrinth also winning this event is very, very funny to me. You had all of this Rizeol stuff sitting over here doing all this, and the fact Rizeol once again has that protection, you figure that Labyrinth might not be able to do something, but I guess, your every 2 monster investment your opponent has, if you can bounce it off of the field or, take care of it, then you don't really have much of that threat still lingering around. So I guess that in itself puts the deck in an interesting position in the meta, that if you can handle these answers, which, okay, if Labyrinth's the thing that has to stand up to Rizeol to kind of quell the beast, that's pretty good. Now, dare I say, Let's pass on over those deck lists so you can be shocked. Starting off here, we have one of the most interesting Labyrinth lists that I've seen out here. You have Summon Limits, the Destructive Daruma Cannons, the Dominus Impulse. You are controlling your opponent as quickly as you can. I also do see we're using Typhoon in here as well, you know, being able to pop after a massive field. Okay, Baguska, getting things switched to defense mode is really, really broken. Baguska is an amazing card. But you're also going to notice, is that ye old broken spell card down there that is going to get you some crazy value on the opponent's turn? Why, yes, it is. We have reached the point now that we have arrived at using the good old spell cards to generate up this massive swarm of advantage. Gutting out most of the furniture from this deck, playing the more trap heavy build, no skill drain, no power sink stones, but instead, you know, using the Dong Monica punishments to kind of out what your opponent is able to try to do. Yep, this looks standard. Hey, look, Rizeol. Now, the interesting thing I see about this list is we've chosen to play a little bit of extra support in here from the Utopia side, or the number support stuff that has just kind of been sitting around really doing nothing out here. I actually find that kind of hilarious that Rizeol is allowing you the chance to pick this up. You also do see the Star Seraph. Hey, all you gotta do is get a light monster. The Masquerade buyout was a hilarious thing as it was, but looking at, you know, the Star Cestus, looking at the other Star Seraph that you can use to tutor for your search, you're not limited to, you know, the stupid stuff that was kind of coming around with that. So options, options, options. I actually am very happy about that. You know, you just got to make sure, all right, well, I'm going to spend it here, or, you know, I'm going to decide elsewhere what the perfect option is. Our next Rizeol list here. Now, this is a little bit different than what you just saw there. You know, we're getting out the little tech choices that the other build had. You know, you do see that we are playing the Umbral Masquerade in here, or the little cool tech choice to get the 7 Tachyon up and running for your search. We do have, of course, good old Tack Talents in the deck, the 1 Pot of Prosperity. And of course, this build is actually playing 2 copies of the Rizeol field spell. The thing that actually makes this incredibly strong is the fact that with the motor up and running, you're just going to get this free stupid advantage. All right, tucking back to making sure your resources are going and having it be a negate is absolutely nuts. All right, like, I gotta clap for it, man. It is crazy just to see how strong this deck is, and I can get behind 2 field spells, honestly. I do kind of feel like that's a little bit more of a correct ratio. We also do have Vanquish Soul in here. I did not expect to see a Vanquish Soul variant even making an attempt to show up out here, let alone, you know, a build playing triple macro Cosmo of all things. You know, Rizeol getting free access to their graveyard, I guess, does kind of make people want to consider an option tree to allow them, you know, hey, we can do this. Also, Kaiser Varius is a pretty stupid card. Also, the fact that we've got the miniest Diabellstar package in here of the 1 Diabellstar, the 1 Wanted, and the 1 Silvera to try to out these boards is kind of interesting. Also, we're not doing any like turbo heavy Zeus plays in here. They're using more of the Link package to try to do things. I also do see we are setting quite some interesting choices with the Ultimate Providence out here. I wonder if that's going to be something that's going to kind of stick around and show up, or, you know, this is kind of a one and done kind of situation. Okay. And then, of course, we do have some Yubel for you here, too. Probably the most standard cookie cutter deck of all of the meta lands out here. You know, still Triple Nightmare Throne, the opening of Spirit Gates, you know, all of your consistency that you want. But this build's also only playing, what, 2 Fluars, 1 Perulia? I guess they're like, hey, if you draw into the cards that you need, well, you know, you kind of just, you messed up. I mean, I don't really see much of a need for that, but okay, sure. Of course, everything that this deck does is going to be looked at as unfair by a majority of the community. It's just easy accessible summons are going to put people into such a bad taste in their mouth. Like, it's genuinely kind of impressive just to see what is going to come out in terms of the deck development. But hey, I'll take that. That's definitely some interesting stuff here. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.